Today, I want to talk about why I believe Valve is the best gaming company that still remains to this day. And it's sort of a sequel to the first rant I did on, like why AAA gaming and just entertainment as a whole is kind of like dying as it's become hyper commercialized into the mainstream and just basically cookie cutter as fuck, broken game releases because the publishers don't care, shitty monetization, and just like all this other crap that exists in the industry, while Valve somehow still manages to fucking flourish every single time, create banger games, banger monetization models, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And, really, I think you have to look at Valve from when they began. When Valve first started, they were just like a traditional gaming company creating games and then publishing them, using that money to fund the next game, and so on and so on. But they actually evolved a lot and figured out how they can create sustainable business models for themselves to continue creating these games while having other cash flow that allows them to actually make these bigger titles that take so much work, so much time, and just dedication, blood, sweat, and tears. And really, I think you have to understand when you create a game, and I've noticed this a lot with, for example, like a project like Star Citizen. For the people that really, I think if you look at Star Citizen, the people that say it's a scam are the people that, probably are more casual gamers or even just gamers, but they don't understand the process of game development and how it works. And the people who do like the game, or maybe they don't even play it, but they know it's not a scam, are the people who actually understand how game development works. And I think this is probably something that's missing. When you create a ambitious game, it takes a lot of work. Even if it's something as simple as like a 2D platformer like Super Meat Boy or Hollow Knight or whatever that game is called. Those games, they may seem super simple, but I can guarantee you the devs spent 6-7 years working on it and had to self-fund themselves the entire way through to create that product. And so really what I'm trying to say is game development is an extremely tough profession if you want to do it right. If you just want to launch a broken game like Halo Infinite, Battlefield 2042 or whatever the fuck it's called, like basically any AAA game that has come out in the past couple of years, if you want to create a product like that, then I mean, like there's obviously a lot of work involved, but you could kind of skip the hard part of actually perfecting the game and just launch it and just, sell some copies and shit like that. But why is Valve the best gaming company in the world? Because I think from the beginning they understood a few key principles in the game development industry. One is create amazing products that speak for themselves. I mean, Half-Life, Portal, like all these games, like they speak for themselves, guys. There's a reason why people are still talking about a game that's like fucking 25 years old or whatever, and still hold it in such high regards. There's a reason for that because the products were just so good. But beyond that, Valve also understood that modders play a huge part in the game community. And it's not really just modders. It's this whole methodology of allowing the community to build around your products because the community really is what keeps your game alive. And so, Valve understood that. They always allowed people to mod their games, and that's how you got Dota. That's how you got Counter-Strike, my favorite game, like multiplayer wise. And that's how you get these amazing products that last forever. That's how you get Team Fortress 2 as well. Valve would not be here if it wasn't for modders. And I mean, they understood that from the very beginning. And so, Valve, they always took a very collaborative approach. They never tried to ban the modding community. They always gave them support, and they even hired the modding community to build out new products and join Valve because the people who were actually talented enough to create full-on new games built on top of one of Valve's games, those are the ones you want to hire. It's not the college graduate the developer that just wants to get into the industry as a job. They see it as a job. It's the people who gave a fuck to spend hundreds or thousands of hours of their time to do something that they knew they'd never sell for real money. Those are the people you want to hire because they give a fuck. They actually give a fuck. They're not just there for the money. And obviously, Valve understood that. But I think really what Valve understood the best is that the traditional model of game development is not something that's sustainable. And what do I mean by that? If you look at games themselves, there is the developers, the people who actually put in the work to create the product. But in most cases, these developers rely on third-party publishers to fund them and get that game released. Essentially, the investor that helps provide funding for the product itself, but then also for the marketing and the distribution of the game. Also very important. And so, Valve, they notoriously do not work well with other companies because they have very specific processes and they want everything to be perfect. They are by nature perfectionists, and you need to be a perfectionist if you want to do what Valve's done. And so they knew, like, if they just rely on game sales and revenue to fund themselves, that it was not sustainable because of the amount of time it takes to release their games and getting it perfect. And so what they did is they focused on creating unique monetization models and external revenue that could actually support them in the long term and finance these games that they wanted to put out. And so that's why you saw Steam come online, a brilliant fucking product that to this day is basically has no rivals. Like, I think there was this narrative that Epic Games was gonna somehow fight Valve and take market share away from them. Like, guys, they didn't have a fucking add to cart feature for like 2 fucking years. And really, I mean, where are they today? Like, if they didn't give away free games and basically lock like some game releases to be exclusive on their platform for a year or two, no one would be using that dog shit platform because the platform's dog shit. Like, it's not good. And so Valve, they realized, like, okay, well, core tenants, community, let's build a bunch of stuff around Steam to support the community, the workshop, custom maps. Like, you have these Steam badges that you can get, and these achievements, and you can see your hours, and basically it's like they build the social media for gamers. And I mean, it's not really a social media platform, but it has elements of that in the platform itself. And so they were basically able to, from a very early on age, I think Steam first came online in like 2003, and they were able to just make a bunch of money just directly from there because they were able to sell other people's games on top of their own games and keep a majority of the revenue for themselves. And I mean, look, Steam's not perfect. I wish when it came to indie developers, they took less of a cut. The platform didn't get updated for a long time. And guys, I know there's issues. I'm not saying Valve's a perfect company, but I mean, look what else is available. What else is available besides Steam? So anyway, so Valve started making money from that, and then they realized that the free-to-play model with in-game cosmetics that were actually thought out well could work really well for them. And then, I mean, you got TF2 with the free-to-play model. That game is, I don't even fucking know how long it is, how old it is, but it is a very, very popular game to this day. I think it's still in the Steam top 10. And why is it still alive? I mean, obviously the game is really good, the gameplay is really good, the writing's really good, all the characters are just amazing and beautiful, and you always remember them. But I mean, the item economy is a big factor, guys. Like, if the item economy didn't exist, I think TF2 would still be alive, but it wouldn't be where it is today. And I mean, it's the same thing for CSGO. The item economy and the way Valve basically invented yet another money printer on top of Steam. I mean, if you look at Steam, that is basically one of the world's only actual money printers. But on top of that, they created another money printer, which is these cases that people open to get these different skins and stuff like that. And the item economy is just another beautiful thing that they just somehow understood, were able to implement, and now these games have flourishing economies where it's basically like a digital currency. I mean, CSGO skins were basically the original NFT. If you're in crypto, you know that NFTs actually probably came out before CSGO items, but they never had, it was just the technology that came out. The actual commercial adoption and retail adoption for NFTs did not come way later until around 2020, 2021. And even then, it was just still basically a Ponzi. And Valve somehow managed to create NFTs before they were even a thing. So Yeah, I mean, you can see all these different like revenue models they have, and they're also able to maintain all these different games that they have, Steam, all the maintenance that comes with that, plus developing new products, whether it's like the fucking VR platform they have or the Steam Deck. And you know how many employees they have? 300. I think it's just over 300. And that's for Steam. That's for the maintenance of older existing games, for new products. They have 300 employees and they're able to do all that. While these other studios have way more, right? And still create worse quality products. And so basically, this is a very long-winded way of saying that Valve from very early on understood what makes games good. They understood what the community has to offer in terms of keeping those games alive in various ways, whether it's through custom content created through the community or mods, which I guess is still custom content, or the interactive with item economies, creating content, whatever it may be. And then they also realized that game development in its purest form is an unsustainable business model that needs external funding to be continued. And so because they understood those things, they were able to become what they are today. And they were able to create amazing products. When I bought a Oculus Rift just to play Half-Life Alyx. And Half-Life Alyx is still one of, like I still remember it so fondly. And even just that first scene, it just blew me away. And I felt like I'm currently experiencing something that is like an absolute first for me. And, you know, I've been playing games since I was very young. A lot of things don't really blow me away anymore. And I just kind of see it as yet another game. But I mean, Half-Life Alyx was just something, it was a masterpiece. TF2, some of the fondest memories I have is just like being young and playing that. And then CSGO, I mean, I got into CSGO in 2015. It is my favorite multiplayer game. I literally live and breathe CSGO. And, you know, why is that? I played it when I was 15. I think I first started. And I'm now 23 and I still play it. And I played actively. I watched the tournaments. I participate in the item economy. And I've been playing for basically over 8 years. What other game has that longevity? Because if it's not a Valve game, it doesn't have it. Like, I don't think you can name a single other product that exists today that has had that longevity and is actually still peaking as we speak in terms of players. There's nothing. And again, I'm trying to really hammer in this point that when you understand gamers and you understand why it is you're building what you're building, you can create beautiful products around that resonate with people for a long fucking time.